Okay, I'm glad that we got this. So yeah, this meeting is being recorded, and yeah, if you so that people who cannot join, if and users who have attended and want to watch it at on demand later can view it on our mug page. So in case you do not want to participate in a live recorded session, please feel free to watch the recording at a later time. We'll, as always, we send out an email to all of our chapter members with the links to the on-demand presentation and on-demand, recording. And of course, if you have any questions, as always, our LinkedIn, our emails are always with you guys. Please feel free to send those to us. And of course, stay connected with our chapter. A lot of you are already members, and thank you so much for that. We last time I checked, we are a little shy of reaching the 400 members mark, and this is amazing. We started our journey with close to 37 people, like a year and a half back, and now we are a community of 400, like almost 400 people, Marketo users, and this is amazing. Thank you so much. And if you haven't been, subscribe to our chapter, make sure you do so that you get all the emails and the communications that we periodically send out to our members. And some of the upcoming opportunities, as you all know, Adobe Summit is right around the corner in few short days of time. Uh, a lot of Marketo people, marketers are going to be meeting in the Las Vegas for the Adobe's biggest marketing summit in Vegas. And both Ajay and I are basically visiting Las Vegas. I'm going to be speaking on dynamic chat and like conversational experiences in dynamic chat and Marketo Engage. And funny enough, Ajay and I, we have been working a lot, like on a multiple things so far, but we haven't met in person. And this is the place, Summit is the place where we are going to meet for the first time. I believe, in my opinion, there couldn't be any better place for us to meet.
That's
But
right.
yeah.
And just in case if you all are traveling to the US and attending Adobe Summit in person, we would love to meet you in person.
Yes.
So feel free to drop a message on LinkedIn, and yeah, we will definitely connect over there.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, Adobe team has also launched a new inherited a Marketo Engage instance series. So these are like 10 years. Like this is a series with 10 MLs with prepared by champions, including Ajay. So there are multiple tips, best practices that you as a user who has inherited a Marketo Engage instance should follow. Some of the best practices, and I have gone through this series, the emails in the series, and they are amazing. So if you want to sign up for these email series, please feel free to do so. We'll be sending out the link as well. And yeah, all the emails are being sent periodically on Mondays and Thursdays. And some of the upcoming user group meetings, you can always look through all the meetings that are scheduled on the mux.marketer.com page, basically. And a lot of meetings, as always, have scheduled for this month as well, including some of the international as well as the Japanese meetings, in case if you are interested. So with that, let's get started to the core crux of the items that we are going to be discussing today. So let's start very basic. Why do we need integration between uh, platform like marketing automation platform as Marketo Engage and a CRM platform such as like Dynamic CRM, Salesforce, Viva CRM, etc. So marketing and sales, these are the two teams which, although a lot of people say are different teams, but there needs to be a close synchrony between these two teams, because a person's journey starts with anonymous person's journey starts with the marketing interaction, and they end with the sales interaction. So a close the entire person journey, it includes both the teams. So that's the reason, if teams are in if the roles of the teams are integrated, why not the platforms? So basically it allows the coordination between marketing and sales activities by seamlessly sharing the relevant information between your marketing automation platform, in this case Marketo Engage, and your CRM. So Marketo Engage has the uh, great native integrations with Dynamic CRM, Salesforce, and Viva CRM. Viva CRM is something that they have introduced recently, and this is something that you would have to reach out to your CSM in case if you have or use Viva CRM. And of course, apart from these platforms, there's also a capability or a possibility of integrating your own bespoke CRM, basically, outside of these CRMs that are being, that can be natively integrated with Marketo. You can always integrate your third party CRM with Marketo. And of course, we have a dedicated slide where we are discussing all about the custom integrations, different ways, different processes that we follow for integrating a custom CRM with Marketo. And of course, it facilitates, like, integration between Marketo and the CRM that you're using facilitates lead scoring, routing, closed loop reporting, which is very important because, as I said, a person or a prospect journey starts with marketing automation platform and it ends at the CRM platform. So it allows a integration between these two platforms, allows closed loop reporting, and of course enhance the department collaboration. When I say department, I mean marketing and sales departments collaboration, and ensures this these two teams are very much aligned. And of course, in a bit, we'll be seeing the sync schema, basically how the data flows between marketing automation platform and the CRM. Most of the objects, they have a bidirectional sync, meaning the information flows from Marketo to the CRM, and the information or any updates in the CRM also get synced back to Marketo. So that's what bidirectional sync is all about. And
Cool. Uh,
yeah,
Sorry, Darshil. I just wanted to speak something about Viva CRM.
yes,
So
please go ahead.
thank you. We all are aware about Microsoft Dynamics and Salesforce, but I don't think so many people are aware about what Viva CRM is. I have been following Viva CRM from the past 10 years because this company was actually the competitor of the organization where I was employed at. So what this company does or used to do back then, that they have a robust, sophisticated CRM that is somewhat built on the similar platform on which Salesforce is built in, and it was mainly used for pharma companies, and thereafter it was used for their patient engagement team, and thereafter it got further enhanced to clinical trials. So basically, Viva CRM is something that is mainly for the sponsors, we call it. And in the layman terms, those are pharmaceutical companies. And it is all about bringing your pharma's compliance, sales force, and patient engagement for clinical trials together.
Amazing. Very cool. And I
Yep.
believe since Marketo has a lot of presence and clients in the healthcare space, that's the reason that they introduced a very much native sync with the Viva CRM, because that's a CRM, like a go-to CRM for the pharma companies in the life science and healthcare clients, basically. Okay. Thanks for that info, Ajay. Appreciate it. Okay. Moving ahead, let's talk a bit about different types of sync. So first we have the native CRM sync. So when I say native, I mean all the sync configuration, and the integration between Marketo and the CRM is being taken care by the platform itself. And Marketo supports robust out of the box integration with some of the very popular CRMs that I mentioned on the previous slides as well, and on this slide, like Salesforce, Microsoft Dynamics, SAP Sales as well, and the Viva CRM as well. And as we mentioned, primarily used in the healthcare industry. So of course, no coding or advanced configuration is required. Everything is being taken care, at the platform level by the out of the box integration. Basically, the Marketo team manages these particular native integration. And yeah, like as I said, Marketo takes care of managing the connector, deploying any patches, updates to the newer CRM APIs. So if you're like active on the community, you'd keep seeing post by the Marketo project managers around any updates that they have been making to the CRM connector basically, and if there are any steps that need to be taken at the customer front. So yeah, like this particular native CRM sync, this eliminates the need for any third-party connectors or middleware, and of course allows you to streamline, data flow and ensuring 100% compatibility and reliability. And in the backend, of course, this connector makes use of the APIs, both Marketos as well as the CRM's APIs, to get and post data periodically. So of course, pretty and there are like detailed steps that have been provided like on the product documentation that you can always go through when it comes to natively integrating CRM with Marketo. And there are certain nitty-gritties of native integration that we would like some of the those would be discussing in this call. And yeah. And next up is the, custom CRM sync. So when I say custom CRM sync, it's completely, different from native CRM sync. So in case your company uses a CRM that is, outside of the CRMs supported by Marketo's native integration, then you would need to have or like a build or go for the custom CRM sync. So we have categorized, custom CRM sync into three, basically the way through which we integrate the CRM with market into three categories. And this is, in the increasing order of effort, resources required to implement this, CRM, like custom CRM sync. So first is the third-party managed integration. So this type of custom CRM syncs, these are managed by third party. When I say third party, I mean, parties other than, Market or Salesforce or the CRM that you've been using basically. So these third-party managed integration, they offer pre-built integration solution tailored to a specific CRM platform, of course, with Marketo being the marketing automation platform. And similar to the native sync where Marketo takes care of all the patching, all the updates, rolling out, updates, the APIs and all, the backend management. Here also the entire backend management is being taken care and owned by the third party, facilitator, the company or the facilitator who is providing this integration. So this is pretty much similar to the native sync that Marketo offers. It's just that uh, the company or the who manages it, it's not Marketo. And of course, there could be a limited sync. And of course, when you compare this third-party managed integration, there might not be 100% feature parity with the ones being offered natively by Marketo. And then next up is the middleware facilitated integration, basically. So these are the types of integrations where you have a middleware that takes care of making connections with both the systems, Marketo as well as your CRM. And so like middleware like Zapier, Delvo, MuleSoft can take care of that middleware layer. They in they facilitate the data transfer between both the systems, but these are a bit advanced or require a little bit of more configuration than the third party managed integration, but because you are the person who is going to be implementing the API calls and etc at the middleware level. So you need to add all of your like the marketing APIs, your CRM APIs, determine the sync direction, determine the polling, etc. It's just that the middleware is going to be the facilitator here, but the entire configuration including the APIs, etc., would need to be added to the middleware by you or, of course, your developers. And then there's custom in-house built integration. So here you are not using any middleware, you are not using any of the third-party managed integration. You are developing an integration in-house. Of course, there have been cases where users have developed their own sets of APIs as well in order to, get through some of the custom requirements. And this offers complete control over the integration process and customization options because you are not limited by the options that are being provided to you in case of the prior cases, the third-party managed integration or the middleware facilitated integration. And of course, this custom in-house built integration requires a little bit of advanced, I would say, technical expertise and resources. More resources are required for development and ongoing maintenance. So for example, if the API that you are using is being deprecated by the platform, then you solely are responsible for updating that API calls, like updating that particular APIs, and all the other patching, the security compliances, etc., are needed to be taken care by you. Uh, so let's switch gears. We can now discuss a bit about native integration, and I will let Ajay walk you guys through the sync configuration steps for the Marketo and CRM native integration.
Cool. Thank you so much, Darshil. So the first most important thing that is actually important for any sync, any native sync between Salesforce and Marketo is that you shouldn't be having any contact on your Marketo instance. Let it be anonymous or known. Just in case you got a Marketo instance and before even connecting it to Salesforce, you just created a landing page and you started browsing the landing page and filled out a form, which or maybe created or manually created a few records in Marketo, then you will not be able to create the sync between Marketo and Salesforce. So the most important thing is that there shouldn't be any contact. So whenever we are implementing Marketo and the CRM happens to be Salesforce, and I'm pretty sure this is the similar requirement for other CRM platforms as well, there should not be any contact. Let it be known or anonymous in your instance of Marketo. Then what needs to be done? The easiest way, you need to work with your Salesforce admin and share them the instruction. And these instructions are already there in product doc. It is very easy. The first thing is that we need to create a user on Salesforce. And one thing I want to tell you, do not create the username using your name, or do not authenticate the Salesforce and Marketo sync using your own credentials through which the sync user name shows your own name. And I'm going to tell you the reason why. Or maybe perhaps I should walk you through on the another slide where we are discussing about the Salesforce sync issues, that why we should not be using our own name as a sync user. It is very important that we should be using Marketo sync or something which could easily identify that the sync user is different. Give the proper permissions for the different objects, give other permission sets such as marketing user and other permissions so that the sync user can create campaigns. And these we could do it on Salesforce profile sets. Once this is done, then we need to create custom fields. And this is another important thing, and I'm sorry, I'm just speaking a little bit more on part of Salesforce, that we need to create the fields on lead and contact object of Salesforce. And the most important thing is that we need to map these for conversion. If we are not doing that, as in when a lead is being converted to a contact, we are going to lose the data which was there in the lead object. So that is important, and we need to ensure that these fields are visible to the Marketo sync user. And just in case if we want these fields to be edited, and we definitely want these to be edited because these are going to be the custom fields which Marketo would be updating it. So just make the read, write, and edit access to these fields on Salesforce. And then you need to come back to Marketo. This is the third step. Authorize the Salesforce user in Marketo, and then thereafter map the Marketo and CRM fields. And this is a little important step because just in case if the field names are same, you might end up seeing that leads are being mapped to account level, or sorry, account object. And the catch is that there is no harm in doing this mapping, but you will not be able to write in account of object. So the best thing is that always ensure your person fields are mapped to lead and contacts both, because Marketo cannot write on account object or opportunity object. So you need to do this manually. And thereafter, just in case, once you have started syncing the schema and you have implemented everything, and then you find out there are changes, you need to work with the Marketo support to change in the field mapping, and then they will help you to recreate it. And thereafter, all you need to do is test the integration And yeah, it takes a little time to transfer the data from Salesforce to Marketo, and after that, it is easy. Next slide, please, Darshil. Cool. So how Native Sync works? So the first thing in your subscription may take hours or even days. It is completely depending upon that how much data you have in different objects and what kind of object you want Marketo to sync with, means, and what kind of object here I'm precisely referring to certain custom objects which you may want to sync here. And after that, each sync typically takes seconds or minutes, and it only syncs the data that has changed. And now, this is the most important thing, that is actually implicit and explicit things. So the thing is that if you create a person in Marketo, by default, it is not going to sync with Salesforce. So you need to create a flow called sync person to a Salesforce, and that's how that particular person will be created in Salesforce as a new lead. But if there is already an existing lead or contact, then that specific record will get updated. And then implicit sync, it only happens when you add a set of records to a Salesforce campaign, you change their honor, or you sync a program member with a Salesforce campaign that you could precisely do within the program and Salesforce integration. Means program name and Salesforce campaign integration. And next slide, please. And this is how the sync schema looks like. Lead and contacts of Salesforce are mapped to the person object of Marketo. The account is mapped to company. Campaign is mapped to program, and opportunities are mapped to opportunity. Activities are mapped to activity object, and then we have custom object which are mapped to the custom object. The only catch is that precisely bi-directional sync Marketo has with lead and contacts. There is some fields which we could update it in campaign member objects as well. We could create campaign as well from Marketo, but there are certain limitations over here. And rest of the objects like account, opportunity, we can't write in there. So that's which we actually need to understand, what we could easily write and what we can't write, and what we could write till some extent. So lead and contact, it is a bi-directional rule. We could update everything, and if you update it in Salesforce, it will get updated in Marketo. And if you update something in Marketo, it will get updated in Salesforce. You can't do that for account and opportunity. Activity, you could create tasks, no question about it. But there are other things, like if you are talking about campaigns, there are certain limitations, but you could definitely create a few fields in the campaign member object.
You have a Yeah, sorry, please go ahead, Ajay.
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say you can create, you can map and update. Sorry, Darshil. Yeah.
Yeah, just one point here. So these are all the, the directions, the way that the object syncs, given that the sync user can see and like has access rights to, update the respective object or the fields in it. So for example, if the sync user doesn't have, access to write the lead object, then this is going like the bidirectional sync. It's gonna be like a unidirectional sync where the data from Salesforce is going to be syncing to Marketo's person object. The lead object is going to be syncing to person object, but any updates made to the person or the custom fields or any of the fields in Marketo are not going to be syncing back to Salesforce, because the sync user that has been used to sync these two platforms doesn't have the access right to basically update the lead object in Salesforce. So this is the ideal sync schema, given that the sync user has all the required access rights to make updates, read or write, etc. Yeah, just wanted to add that, Ajay.
Awesome. Next slide, please.
Yeah.
And these are the best practice that the first one, the most important, that ensure marketing and sales team have aligned goals, and we are defining what is MQL, what is type A, type B, type C leads, how the lead scoring is going to work, and all other cool stuff. Without this alignment, everything is waste, because marketing would be saying that we got MQLs and Sales team might be saying, "Oh, these are garbage." So just ensure that there is a proper alignment between sales and marketing. Ensure there are proper sync permission, and these permissions are required, and you don't sync those records who you really don't want to sync to, or you don't sync those fields who really you don't want to sync to, and then clog up your Marketo and Salesforce sync. And then global sync campaign, it is always a best practice to create a global campaign that syncs the records as and when there is a new record meeting certain conditions which we would like these to be synced to Salesforce. And then lead routing and assignment rule, implement clear rules for lead distribution which are accepted or agreed by the sales team member. Then the fifth one is synchronization of schedule. Set up regular data sync between system. And this is only when if you're using custom sync, and we will be speaking about the custom sync as well, in which you could actually sync a part of the data from either from Salesforce to Marketo or from Marketo to Salesforce. But the only catch is that it ends up resulting in creating duplicates. So there are pros and cons with that. And then the sixth best practice is custom field mapping. Like I said, that whenever you're creating custom fields on lead and contact object, ensure the API name and the names are same. And then these both are mapped for conversion. There is a checkbox that needs to be checked, and it should be made visible to Marketo Sync user. Next slide, Rashid. Thank you. And the another important thing, user training and documentation. Trust me, this is actually a pain point for many organizations, that they have robust system, but they never documented the processes, they never documented the sync, that how everything works, and then it becomes a nightmare later, that how the things have been syncing from Salesforce to Marketo and from Marketo to Salesforce to another CRM. And then the most important thing is continuous monitor and optimize. Believe it or not, there was a client of mine. The sync means, when they were syncing a record from Marketo to Salesforce, it used to take 2 days, and it was horrible. So you need to actually find it out what is triggering that, and then in that scenario, monitor that sync and how much time it is taking, and then optimize it and find out the root cause, that why there is so much of delay. Collaboration and communication. This is always important between marketing operations, sales team. So this is the most important thing again. And monitor key sync errors that I will be walking you through on the following slides. And API calls. Make sure you don't hit the API calls limit for custom integration. And it is important that API calls are basically only important when we are using custom integration. Just in case if you're not doing it and it is just the native integration, don't worry about it. And I believe, Darshil, over to you for the subsequent slides.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ajay. Amazing. So, based on our experiences, we collated some of the tips and tricks as well, and these also fall in line, a little bit in line with the best practices, things you should be doing, uh, uh, you know, like, and of course, some of the tips and tricks as well. So, first of all, like, as we discussed, there are certain out of the box, objects that are being provided in both these systems, like person object in Marketo, company object in Marketo. We have lead, contact, account objects, opportunity objects in your CRM site. Apart from that, if you have any type of data that you want to sync from one system to another system, always you can go with a custom object sync. It allows you to create object with of course a custom object with custom fields on it, and you can sync those data over to Marketo. And of course you can use those data for personalization in Marketo up to 2 levels of depth, basically. So you can use data in your velocity scripting as well. And of course, we in the best practices we discussed about having a campaign, an operational global campaign that syncs or like creates new people into Salesforce. So basically, what I feel is a lot of companies, they sync all of their records, all of their Marketo records over to Salesforce. Even though Salesforce, people or users in Salesforce, they just want people who are MQL and above. So no point in no pointing in syncing records that are basically not required to be synced at that point in time. So I usually recommend, having proper campaign filters to ensure only the qualified leads are synced to your CRM system. And this allows you to basically keep your CRM pretty, clutter free and maintain the data integrity. You don't want, unwanted records that are never going to be worked by sales team in the CRM. And of course, sales insights. This is also one of the features that I feel a lot of users don't make use to its full extent. Enabling sales insights basically could help provide sales teams with valuable insights into lead engagement, how well people are engaged. So there are like stars and flames, basically that shows the level of engagement that a person has done on your marketing assets, and based on that, it allows sales team to basically prioritize leads in case they have like multiple leads assigned to them, and automate the lead routing basically. So like, of course, if you are like an advanced user of Marketo, you will probably have a lead lifecycle model, the scoring model built in as a part of your lead management framework. So I always recommend, automating your lead routing and ensuring that leads are synced to your CRM system at the right buyer journey stage. So something that I talked earlier as well. And based on like a lot of companies, they have like a larger sales teams, and you know based on different product of interest, based on different geo, they assign the MQL leads to the respective sales reps. So automating those things in Salesforce is pretty easy, I would say. Like, not easy, but it's something that you should be doing instead of manually like loading people like MQLs to a queue, and just let them sit there and allowing sales users to pick them manually. So automate the lead routing based on the lead lifecycle stages basically. And yeah, sync data volume. This is also one of the most important things. So as Ajay was mentioning about one of his client case where like a single sync used to take like up to 2 days. So yeah, reduce the sync data volume as much as you can so that the records that you want to sync, they get synced in almost in real time. You do not see a lot of sync issues or a sync delays. And custom sync rules. So if you want to, pause or stop syncing and already sync records between the systems, make sure you use the custom sync rule. So this is something that if you are using a native sync, you can work with the Marketo support team to enable a custom sync rule with your native integration, and this would allow you to pause or stop syncing a record that has been already syncing between the systems. And one of the caveat with the native integration is that the Marketo doesn't do any deduplication for the records that have been created from the Salesforce or the CRM side basically. So there's a high possibility if your sales users are also creating records from there and the CRM, you will see a lot of duplicates in Marketo. So make sure your sales users know that creating records in Salesforce and are going to be like would lead to record creation in Marketo. So even though Marketo has that respective record there. So, and of course, pay close attention to sync errors and sync status. And in the next couple of slides, we'll be discussing about these in detail. So, sync status. So this is something that I see a lot of users don't do basically. So, you can always go to your Marketo admin, navigate to Salesforce, and then towards your sync status basically. It includes all of your the status or the logs of all the things that have been synced in the past 5 days basically. And there are multiple filters based on the object type. Uh, on the operation type and the status of the sync. Basically, did it fail? Did it succeed? Is it in process? Is it incomplete? Basically, so based on this filters, based on the date and time, you can basically, like do a sync status check as well in case you want to audit or want to see, how the sync has been performing. Are there any error, a lot of errors been there, or a lot of things have been failing up recently. So always, periodically, I would say like bi-weekly or even if possible weekly, go through the sync status page. And similarly, the sync errors as well. So yeah, I mean, like next to the sync status, you can see the sync errors page, and all of your errored out records, including the error details, are actually logged here. So you can always monitor the errors that have been frequent, and you can work with your sales team. So when I say sales team, I mean the Salesforce team, to fix those records in case they have been, they are causing because of any issues with the user permissions or the field configuration, etc. And of course, similar to the sync status, the sync errors are also retained for a period of up to 5 days. I would let Ajay talk a bit about the Salesforce sync issues, because he has been like a champion in discovering and resolving Salesforce sync issues for a long time now. I also go back to him in case I have questions usually. Over to
Thank you,
you, Ajay.
Kashi.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And these sync errors were the main reasons why I did my certifications or various certifications on Salesforce. And I'll start with the one which is towards on the right-hand side in hash that blame game. So, so what happened that I was working in an organization as an employee, and then what was done that I accidentally made the sync user as my name. And what was actually happening, as in when there used to be an update in the sales CRM, they first used to say that, oh, Ajay has done it. Then what I did that, I changed the name of that sales, it was a Marketo Sync user to Marketo Sync. And then they started saying that, oh, there is a changes in account object, and just see in the field update history of Salesforce, it is done by Marketo Sync user. And then they will show me the opportunity object, and then they will say that just see the field update in opportunity object. It is done by Marketo Sync. Then in contact and lead object, they will keep saying about the same thing, that just see Marketo is updating those fields, which ideally Marketo should not be updating. No matter how much I convince them that Marketo can't write on account and opportunity objects, they were they were persistent about it, because in the field activity history that was sort of documented that Marketo Sync user is updating it. So I'm going to tell you what usually happens. So let's assume if there is a flow that is actually built on Salesforce, and that is running, and at the same time Marketo is syncing the record. At that time, or whenever there is a flow that runs, or whenever there is an Apex trigger on Salesforce that updates any object of Salesforce, there is no stamping of who actually updated it. But because there is no user who is doing that, it is the backend programming which is actually updating those fields or those objects. But at the same time, when Marketo is syncing the data from Salesforce to Marketo, or maybe the pushing the updates from Marketo to Salesforce, at that time, and it is a fault on Salesforce side that they stamp Marketo sync username, that specific user has updated the data. So just in case if you ever come across this situation where within the marketing activities or Marketo activity, or the activities of Marketo within the lead database, you're just seeing that Marketo has not updated anything, and with the update there was no campaign that was associated with it, or smart campaign associated with that. So precisely it was updated by Salesforce itself. And the reason is that as in when there are flows and Apex triggers which are built on Salesforce, they update any object or any field, they just can't stamp who updated it. So the sync user gets the blame. So just keep one thing in mind, that that is the most important thing, that these are the common issues that you get to see. So as and when this happens, just ensure that you're going to your Salesforce fields, that specific field which is getting updated, and see where exactly that is being used by. If it is used by certain flows or certain Apex code, then see the history of those flows and those Apex code when those were running, and whether the time is matching with this or not. So that is the most important thing. And then there are common Marketo versus Salesforce sync issues. One is the required field. Let's assume if there are fields which are required in Salesforce, and if we are not updating those, then the data will not sync from Marketo to Salesforce. So let's assume there are certain companies who actually make the company name as the required field, but just in case your form is just capturing only first name, last name, and email address, and there is no data append program which is appending the company name, and you're pushing the data from Marketo to Salesforce, that record will not sync because it is without company name. And the field validation rule is not just only used for mandatory fields. Field validation rules are used for certain other activities, like if the country is US, then the state should be from those 50-51 uh, values. If there is anything beyond that, let's not sync the record. So field validation rule could be there, or a Salesforce admin could place it for various reasons, and you need to be well aware of those field validation rule when you are starting the sync from Salesforce to marketing, as and when you are managing it, as and when the sales operation uh, create a new validation rule on Salesforce, especially on lean and contact object. They should make the marketing operation person also aware that these are the things that we have implemented. Ensure whenever you are syncing the data from Marketo to Salesforce, those are following the right validation rules. Second thing, this is again the most important thing, when there is a duplicate logic on Salesforce. So by default, Marketo dedupes the records based on the email addresses, provided if we are not creating it through the API, custom API. But the challenge is that at times on Salesforce, we could create various duplicate logic. Hey, what if email address is not matching? That's fine. But what if the first name and last name and the company name is matching? Then flag that as a duplicate, and let's not create that on Salesforce. So think about a very large organization. There you could find many people with the same name, like IBM, Infosys, and then this rule might be good, but it may not be good for the larger companies. So if we have duplicate logics built on Salesforce, we may have to see and then work accordingly on our Salesforce sync as well. Then another one is FX CPU limit, and sometimes SFDC is unable to process incoming data from Marketo. Older and complex Salesforce instances are more prone to this, and often the reason for this is that too many records were pushed to Salesforce from Marketo, and Salesforce was overwhelmed by the large triggers it has to process. So whenever you get this FX CPU limit, if you're getting it frequently, then you definitely need to work with your Salesforce admin to get this resolved. And then there are another issues that change in Salesforce pick list values. So just let's assume that there are changes in Salesforce pick list value and you have not made the corresponding updates in your Marketo field. Let's assume those fields are being used in a form, then that could also create an issue. So yeah, these are the challenges which I feel are important, and these are the common sync issues that we get to feel. And that's why at the start of my presentation I said that never ever have your name as the Marketo sync user, because no matter whether you are part of that organization or not, or even if you might end up leaving the organization, you might end up taking the blame for those updates which are being done by the Apex code or the flow. So just keep that in mind. So cool.
Yeah.
I think the next one is Q&A, Darshil. Can we
Yep.
please move to that?
Yes. We also have a couple of questions coming in from audience. We can probably, answer to this question and take those questions. And I believe those questions, a lot of those questions are similar to the questions that we already have on the screen. So we can answer the delta or the remaining questions at the end. We can start with the questions that we have on the screen.
So you want me to start with those questions which are there in the slide or in the chat? Sorry.
Yeah, we can start with the questions that are in the slide,
Okay.
and we can take up the rest after. Yeah.
Cool, Darshil. So Salesforce Sync, we got, I believe, more than 100 plus questions, Darshil, if I'm not wrong, and we were really overwhelmed with those. And we categorized those questions. And trust me, it took us more than an hour just to organize all these questions pretty well, and then we categorized them in different bucket. And the first one is Salesforce Sync, Marketo versus Salesforce CRM Sync. Step by step, we explained you that what are the best practices to follow before doing integration with Salesforce. I told you that the most important thing is that there should not be any contact in your Marketo instance before you are integrating it. Document all the processes, and that is the thing. And Darshil, please feel free to chime in as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what are the best practices for implementing Marketo and CRM integration? We explained that, and end-to-end integration. And how do I do the integration? It is there in the product doc of Marketo. Follow it. Uh, it is almost the same if you're doing it for Salesforce, depending upon the subscription type, but you will find all the steps there. Field
Yeah.
mapping. Darshit, do you want to take these?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that like product documentation is pretty, comprehensive, but there, apart from product documentation, there are a lot of threads on Marketing Nation. Like people, like users who would have, gotten an error, they would have posted question and you other users might have answered basically. So I would also recommend, going to Marketing Nation community, like look for the Salesforce sync or even the Microsoft Dynamics or the CRM sync threads. And there are some, I believe, handsome number of questions around the custom CRM sync as well, in case you want to explore that. So, custom CRM sync is the topic that you would not find a lot in detail in product documentation, but you would find, some questions here and there in the Marketing Nation community and some suggestions as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, these ideas are being vouched by someone who happens to be the community advisor. So definitely follow those.
Thanks, Sanjay.
So fine. So the next thing is about field mapping. That how to do the sync, and then it is all about how to create the fields. It is pretty easy. Create it on lead object, create it on contact object, ensure the name, and most importantly, the API name is unique, and ensure when you are creating both the fields in lead and contact object, those are meant for conversion. So so yeah, that, and just in case if API field names are different, and it is the first time you're setting up the Marketo and Salesforce sync, you could do it when you are actually doing the initial sync between Salesforce and Marketo. You yourself could actually update that. But just in case you got the Marketo sync updated, or maybe after some time the Salesforce admin has wrongly used different APIs, and then you find it out that these are not being mapped correctly on your instance of Marketo, you can always work with Marketo support to get these mapped. And the best practices is what are the procedures we need to follow to avoid create duplicate records due to CRM integration. So there are many things which we could actually follow to create duplicate, to avoid creating duplicate records. The first thing is that I don't know why, and still I might be biased here because I don't know wherever we use custom sync, there are always issues with creating duplicate records.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
But but the thing is that if you have a smart Salesforce admin, they can create a workflow, and they can actually merge that specific lead which is newly created because of the custom integration or custom sync, sorry, and then they can actually get that converted back to the respective record. So that could be done. How has the Marketo SFDC sync improved? I believe the question here is what are the best ways to improve Marketo and Salesforce sync? And Darshil, please feel free to add your thoughts here. My suggestions
Yeah, yeah.
are that that don't have too many trigger campaigns which are
Yes.
running when a lead gets created.
Absolutely. And apart from that, having that one global campaign to create or like sync records to Salesforce also helps basically. And of course, I think we have mentioned this earlier as well. If you don't need to, if you don't need that record in CRM, then don't sync that record to CRM. Let it be in Marketo until and unless it becomes an MQL record. If you want your Salesforce team or your sales team basically to you know work on those leads. So keep your data volume low, basically the sync volume low, so that the records that you want to sync, they sync pretty quickly in a zap basically. So yeah.
Yeah. And then there are other things which are actually depending upon the permissions that a sync user has. At times, we actually could give the view and edit access to almost all fields. But just in case, if Marketo needs not to update those, we can always hide those fields from Marketo. If we need not to build any custom logic or any smart campaign based on those fields, there is no point in showing that to Marketo to increase the to increase the sync speed. And yeah, These are the things that I would suggest, that hide unnecessary fields and always ensure that you're using the right pick list values, and uh, ensure that all the issues that I explained or Darshil explained in the previous slides, those are being addressed, and like validation rule, Salesforce deduplication rule, and that's how the Salesforce sync will be improved. And Darshil, there are many questions in the chat as well. In the interest of time,
Mhm.
because we are left with just only 2 minutes, should we
Yep.
answer those as well?
Yeah, we can take those questions first. So I'll pick the first question. So, one participant has like three questions, three-part question. I will read it out and we can, tackle it together. What is the best practice after our initial sync if our or wants to sync some additional fields for the sync? So I think it's pretty normal for an organization to add more fields. So if those, so I would probably create those fields in Salesforce and give the sync user right to like read and update if that's required. If update access is required over to the sync user, and once that is done, you should see that field coming up in, showing up in Marketo. And if you want to map that field with an already created field in Marketo, you can always work with the, Marketo support team to map the Salesforce custom field and the Marketo custom or the standard field together. And that should be done. And next question is, what will happen if we change the field data type in Salesforce or Marketo after our initial sync? So I haven't, come across a lot of situations where users would actually, change the field data type of a field that has already been synced. But like my first guess is that it would not allow because it would have been being used at the places. And in case if it allows you and the system allows, and if we do the sync, I'm pretty confident that the sync will break, especially for those respective fields, and you would have to remap. I say this because this is the case with the program member custom field sync basically. So in case if you change the data type of a program member custom fields that has been synced with the respective campaign member object in Salesforce, if we change the field type, the sync between both the fields will be broken, and you would have to like resync or remap those fields with the updated data type.
Yeah,
And the
Darshil,
third, uh-huh.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to add my points here
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well. And you
please, please.
rightly summed up that, first of all, we need to understand the basic Salesforce issues. What actually happens when we change a field type? If you change a field type on Salesforce, the biggest issue is that there could be a data loss. Think about it. If there was a pick list value field type and you are changing it to a Boolean field, there is definitely going to be a data loss. So first of all, we need to find it out that what kind of field type we are changing. And it happened to one of my client. And don't say that I did it. I was not part of that. I was there to fix it. So they changed a field type, and then they uploaded 1 million records to Marketo with assuming that the field type is still the same that they used it in the past, and it brought in severe sync issues. That bad sync issues that their sync between Salesforce to Marketo had to stop for good decent 4 days so that they can actually clear the log. And once that was done, then they re-enable it. So it is always advisable, if it is not needed, don't change the field type. If you're changing it, first of all, you need to find it out what are the challenges that those are already there within the CRM side. Because in the CRM also there are going to be issues because there is going to be a data loss. And then just in case if you need to do it, then ensure that as and when you are uploading a new list or there are fields which are being used on forms and other places, those are also getting updated. But my suggestion to you would be, it's better to create a new field.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Ajay. There's a third question in that three-part question. After our initial sync, how we need to change or add pick list values for the country or city field.
Accessibility shortcuts. if we need to change or add pick list values,
Mm-hmm.
um, we can add pick list values. There should not be any issue. But if we are changing that, ideally those should get updated on Marketo side too. But my only thing is that what if we have hard coded the pick list values in certain areas, then that's where it is going to be an issue.
Yeah, in campaigns and all, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep. Yep. There's, I think, more of a suggestion coming in. It would be useful if we could sort the Salesforce sync errors using the region segment, North America, EMEA, APAC. Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion actually. And the only thing that we can do as of now is like, apply filters to the Salesforce sync, like status as well as error pages that we showed earlier. But yeah, it would be, we can filter the like add additional filters using the region segment or like other parameters. Like similar to a smart list. But yeah, something that we can talk, suggest Adobe's product team. Thank you. And there's the third question coming in about deduplication, basically about duplication. I believe in my experience, it happened many times to find the lead and contact duplicated. How would you face this situation? Okay. I think we did answer a question very similar to this, and we have gotten a question similar to this in our form as well, basically from one of the members. So apart from the suggestions shared by Ajay, I would also recommend, making sure that your Salesforce team knows that Marketo doesn't deduplicate records coming in from the Salesforce side. So they shouldn't technically and logically be creating any records from their end that Marketo sync user might see and create a new record in Marketo, even though record already exists in Marketo.
And Darshil, here I want to add the question. Maybe I'm just misreading it, but I believe that if the question is about that, how to avoid creating
Mm-hmm.
duplicate records, so the first thing from my side would be to find it out what is the source of those duplicates
Yes.
and whether the source is through an API or whether the source is someone in Salesforce who is actually creating those leads in the lead or contact object, or creating that record in lead and contact object that is creating it, or maybe it is the custom sync tool. Because you can clean the duplicates, but the most important thing is that you need to first find out what is actually creating those duplicates, and based on that you can find out multiple ways to clean it. There are many third party solutions which are available that we could use to ensure that data hygiene is in process, but everything is waste if we don't know what is causing these duplicates.
Yes, absolutely. Then there are a couple of similar, I would say, questions around any documentation that that you can probably share with the members for the step-by-step sync process, as well as a documentation related to the sync errors and the solutions. I believe for these two items, as we said, product documentation should be a go-to resource for you guys because it is a go-to resource for me personally, and the Marketing Nation community is an absolutely amazing place for finding out the different types of errors as well as their recommended solutions. So I do remember that like yesterday only I did answer a question around the Salesforce sync error that a user was facing on the Marketing Nation community. So you can, so like if you do a small Google search with your like the error that you're facing, you would probably see a lot of Marketing Nation articles coming or discussions coming up. You can probably visit those, but it's a good idea. We can probably think about creating a single post with all the sync errors and the detailed steps in order to resolve those and share it with you guys.
Cool. So, Darshil, in the interest of time, should we conclude today's session?
Yeah, absolutely. uh I'm just looking at the questions and trying to see if there are any questions there. we didn't answer as a part of our presentation, or we can answer it quickly. I'll quickly, talk about the program member custom sync as well. So, a user asked what is program member custom sync for CRM. So program member custom sync fields are the fields that you can create on the program object in Marketo. And you can sync those fields with the campaign member object, and those that fits in place in the fields mapped, you can do a bidirectional sync of data between those two fields. And if you have any program specific data or the campaign member specific data that you can associate it with the person, you can definitely go for that and sync those. And then of course take advantage of those as well. And I believe rest of the questions we have already answered as a part of our presentations, or some of the questions that we answered live.
Yeah, it has been a great session so far.
Yep. Yep.
Cool.
Amazing. Let's conclude today's session then.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. This session was not possible without your active participation. So we request you to keep showing the same love to us, because this is what that is actually needed for the success of this group. And hopefully we are planning to have an in-person mug as well. We will be announcing it uh, sometime later, and we will be taking a survey from you as well, that where exactly we would like to have this session. So appreciate you all are joining this session, and appreciate Darshan's help as always.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.